I would say it's been like my hardest season yet, but it's also led me to a lot of growth, healing, feeling more confident and happy in myself, which I've really wanted for myself for a few years now. So yeah, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Amoah. We are on week 2 of me back on YouTube. I definitely did 4, but it's okay. We are on week 2 of me being back on YouTube. And to be honest, I feel like I could not have chosen a worse time to come back on YouTube, but it's fine. I was talking to a friend and that's what kind of inspired this conversation today, because she knows what's been going on this past year, and she said she's quite proud of me for showing up and coming back despite everything that has been going on and still is going on. So I just thought I would share some of the things that's been happening in the last year, and also just how I've used that to really just build my resilience and to encourage you as well, if you're going through things, to just keep showing up for yourself. I posted on my Instagram yesterday that this time last year I finally started my fitness journey. So I'm a year in, and I know I mentioned it in my previous video, but I didn't share what led up to that point. So at the start of last year, I was actually experiencing quite a few health issues. So I've never been to the hospital more times than I did at the start of last year. And that's because I was experiencing extreme tiredness, pain, aches all over. There was a few times that I couldn't get out of bed. That's how much my legs were hurting, my hip was hurting, my back, shoulders. So as you can hear, it's a variety of different places all over my body. So they couldn't pin down exactly what was causing it. I had about 100 blood tests. I'm exaggerating, but so many blood tests just to figure out what was going on with my body. At a point, they thought I had an autoimmune disease. They were trying to figure out which one, but it wasn't that by the end. Just so many trips, so many different doctors and consultants trying to figure out what was going on. And it wasn't until about, I would say, May, I basically gave up, because I was just being passed around from pillar to post. No one knew what was going on. And I just started researching online, and I decided to just change up my lifestyle and see if it helped. So because of the aches and pains, I thought, let me just try incorporating movement into my day-to-day routine and see if that helps. And it really did. I still get the aches sometimes. Since then, I've come to find out that I do have a hip impingement. Last August, I was at the gym doing some hack squats and injured my hip, and I was out for about 5 weeks. I couldn't stand for the first week, so much pain. And then they said my hips are basically, my pelvis is tilted forward, and just that left hip is a bit prone to injury. So I do have to take things easy when it comes to managing that. But all in all, the way I was at the start of 2025 to how I was at the start of 2026, two completely different people. Honestly, I'm so happy it happened. They still to this day haven't figured out what was going on with my body. Obviously, aside from that, I've also been trying to eat a lot healthier, a lot cleaner. I'm not super clean at all by any means, but I do limit my snacks, sweets, alcohol and things like that. But I do definitely treat myself. But so that's what basically triggered me to starting my health journey, well, my fitness journey. And then in the summer of 2025, I finally got my ADHD appointment. So I think whilst I was very relieved when I got the confirmation that, yes, you do have ADHD, mine's mostly internal. I was off the scale for internal. So my mind just races. I internalize things, overthink, anxiety, all of that. But my external was also up there. So they said I've got type with both. I'll put the actual name on the screen. I can't think of it right now. So I was relieved to get that diagnosis. I had, in the year that I was waiting for the official, I guess, consultation thing to find out if I have it, I was researching a lot and starting to change up how I did certain things anyway. I always struggled with like organization is still tough, but all of those things, I just started looking at different techniques that people with ADHD tend to use to help them in different areas of their lives. But when it was confirmed, I definitely went through a period of grief, because I just thought, why couldn't this have been diagnosed a lot sooner in childhood? It would have been very helpful. I just started to think back about things that I'd done, mistakes I'd made, especially financially, that if I had known I had ADHD, I would have been able to maybe seek help about, or maybe known the tools that I needed to help me not go through certain things and navigate finances or different situations a lot better. I thought back at Kiya as well, and just how I've been running it in general, my weaknesses, most of the weaknesses I have when it comes to being a business owner do stem from the ADHD. So it was a bit of a grieving period and just thinking what parts are really me versus the ADHD. At this point now, I know that I'm just one complete person that has ADHD, but it just felt really separate. So I was like, that's me, but that's the ADHD, if you know what I mean. So it took a while to come to grips with that, I would say. So we had the health issues, then we had the ADHD diagnosis, and then just business has been rough. 2025 was, by not counting this year, because this year has been the ghetto, I tell you, but we are speaking life into the rest of this year. So 2025 was just trash. It was straight trash, especially for my business. It was very difficult dealing with suppliers. I did mention that I've had to get rid of my hero product. Can you imagine my hero product? Just because of the fact that the suppliers have been playing games and they've stopped carrying certain ingredients. Just getting customers is hard. Cost of living crisis is affecting all of us. It was just really, really tough. I did start the podcast. I did a couple of events. I had all the intentions to really go super hard with Kiya last year, and I just felt like all my efforts just came to an end by September, October. I was so burnt out, I just couldn't be asked. I think that's the first time I've ever seriously considered stopping the business. I still pushed through, and I actually, by God's grace, I did get to, well, I applied for the Pinterest Inclusion Fund and I got it. And I was so happy. That was in about October last year. So I felt like, okay, things are going to start turning around. I went through the course. We got a grant. It was really good. I met some amazing fellow business owners as well. So I thought things are changing. No, hit again. Black Friday was so tough. I wasn't able to get someone to help me. Usually I tend to get people to come along when it's Black Friday just to help me with like the prep, packing the orders and everything like that. I wasn't able to get anyone. So I was basically in tears in my kitchen, making the products, trying to get all the emails sent out, packaging the orders. And then another boom, the supplier said they didn't have the ingredients for the sweet nourishing oil. I was just like, what is this? I can't be asked. So when it got to, I think, Christmas time, I was so burnt out. I just basically put everything as out of stock on the website. And I said, okay, January, we'll come back. In that period of time as well, I thought, because things were just getting so intense and I was really giving up, I just thought, okay, let me look around at the job market. I had been doing sort of social media for brands, freelance. So I thought, let me just see if there's anything full-time that I can do while I'm figuring out, you know, of Kiya. So I did that. I started working in a clinic in Harley Street. And that was really interesting. Just watching the surgeries was my favorite bit, hands down. I saw a facelift. I saw breast augmentation, tummy tuck. No, I didn't get to see a tummy tuck, which I'm really quite upset about actually. But I did get to see a couple of liposuction surgeries as well. So really, really cool. I was working there on a team across their socials and things like that. And then I did explain what happened, start of the year. The supplier just said, no, we're not restocking. We're not getting the ingredient back. So I thought, do you know what? I'm doing this social marketing. I'm fine. I'm really enjoying myself. So let me just put Kiya on pause, figure that out. At least, you know, the job sort of situation sorted for now. And yeah, that's when I decided to start doing a rebrand, and things were okay once I'd, you know, start things with the manufacturer, working on the rebrand, and then I got made redundant. Yeah, so this kind of feels like it's been one thing after the other, but at the end of the day, I'm still here. I have my health. I have a brand. I have a business that I have been building for almost 7 years, and I just feel like these things happen for a reason. I feel like that situation came at the best possible time, hands down. I was praying for something to come through while I was trying to figure out what was going on with Kiya. The time I was like, well, maybe this is God just saying you need to hurry up and get back to business, which I am. I do have some other personal stuff going on, but I don't feel comfortable going into right now. But all of that to say, it has been a really interesting 365 days, to be honest. And when I put up the first video last week, I was like really nervous. I was like, okay, you've said you're going to upload every Tuesday. You've said you're back on social media. Let's go for it. As soon as I hit upload, I had a phone call, another situation. I said, oh my gosh. I said, no, I'm going to take it down. We'll start again. But yeah, I decided to keep the video up and continue on with the plan, because at the end of the day, if I've learned anything in this last 365 days, it's that there's always going to be something, and that's life. God will see you through. Stay resilient, stay true to yourself, but there's always going to be something. Like, it's literally just been back to back. But I feel grateful that, one, because of the health issues, I have started my fitness journey. I have not been so confident in my body for years. I'm wearing things I haven't been able to wear for years. I've been able to just feel happy getting up, going out. Obviously, it's nice when you hear the comments from people saying, oh, wow, you know, I can see the difference, or you've lost so much weight, or okay, calves, which is odd because I don't actually work out my calves, but I've been getting compliments on my calves. Yeah, aside from that side of things, it's just nice to feel comfortable in your own skin. So hands down, the best outcome out of that situation. And then I feel like with the marketing side of things, it's not something that I'm dropping. Like I said, I was doing it freelance before. So I do have other freelance clients, etc. I was enjoying my time there, but I just feel like maybe I was getting a bit too comfortable and moving very slowly in terms of getting Kiya back up and running. So again, I feel like it's going to end up being the push I needed to really go for it again. So yeah, I have faith that all things will work out for good, for sure. But yeah, these are the kinds of things I was thinking about talking about on the channel moving forward, just real life, what I'm going through in terms of business, health, just life in general. And yeah, so far the feedback has been, yes, we're here for it. So hopefully that continues. I'm trying to think of any questions that I had last week from last week's video. I think most of those questions were about Kiya, just the running of the brand, the rebrand, the new products, etc. So I think next week I'll definitely touch more. That'll be like a business breakdown type of video. So if you do have any business Kiya related questions, do let me know in the comments and I'll get back to those. Someone asked me about branding and things like that. That's definitely a passion of mine outside of running my business. Mostly self-taught. I've done a couple of courses here and there. So I am happy to speak on a few marketing branding tips. If you're interested, let me know. But yeah, that is my year. Let me know how your last 365 days have gone, because surely I can't be the only one. It's been a time, child. Honestly, I came into 2026 and I said, yeah, this year certainly can't be worse than last year. But to be honest, I'm trusting and believing that the next 6 months are going to be amazing and a testimony to you all. So keep watching this space. I would say it's been like my hardest season yet, but it's also led me to a lot of growth, healing, feeling more confident and happy in myself, which I've really wanted for myself for a few years now. So yeah, even just being able to show up on camera again, because I was feeling just not my best self. My gosh, recording in the middle of a heat wave, everything just went black and said it needs to cool down, but we're back right at the end at least. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Other than that, take care, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.